All right, 10 women Super Falcons of Nigeria, of course, they've given their countrymen and women something to cheer in the midst of a very difficult situation right here in Nigeria. It ended, the Super Falcons is 0, Canada is 0 in their Group B opener at the ongoing 2023 FIFA World Cup being hosted by Australia and New Zealand. On that note, welcome to Niger Super Fans Forum. Of course, this is where we discuss all things African football. And as usual, it's a loaded house. Kado Gundari is here, as well as James Agberebi. Guys, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Femi. Always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, happy to be in today's edition.
Okay, guys, let's get talking. The Super Falcons. A lot of people didn't, particularly myself, I didn't expect this result because when you look at even the ranking, they are 40th in the world, and Canada are 7th in the world. Canada are also the Olympic champions. You wouldn't think that the Randy Waldrum side would be able to, go as far as they went. That's why the fact that they even went a time and down, they were able to, of course, hold on to a point. And thanks to Chiamaka Nnadozie, this lady has proven over and over again to be perhaps the best goalkeeper in women's football in Africa. Coyote.
Let me. Since in the last few hours after the game, I've seen a lot of reports, and I keep wondering where something is wrong. It's either I saw a totally different game, or most of the people who have been dropping post-match comments are saying, or they are saying something totally different from what I saw. Or another angle is probably I am overanalyzing things, which is possible sometimes. I tend to overanalyze things. But I see quite I see flashes of brilliance in the team, and I saw acres of earth-stopping moments in the team, in the game for me as well. For example, I always tell you this, Femi. I said, anytime your goalkeeper is giving the man of the match award, something is definitely wrong. I'm not taking anything away from goalkeepers, but definitely something is wrong somewhere. But in this game, Femi, all hats off to the defense line, all 4 of them. As a matter of fact, I will not deceive you. The main blessing, I call her Tosin, who won number 14, stood out. Ohale, I have known Ohale for years for the experience she brings to the team. But Tosin Demenyi was last year. She was just playing in the Under-20 World Cup, and that reminds me, Femi, actually benching Onome Ebi, a 40-year-old veteran. That is development for me. And she played like a veteran herself today. Because if you're going to single out a player in that defense line, I am sure you either pick Tosin Demenyi or what's her name now? Alozie, who played at left, right back.
At the right-hand side, yeah.
Yeah, Plonka did she did a bit. But for me, her performance was a bit underwhelming for me today. But all in all, if you take the 4 people, I wanted to say the 4 men at the back. If you take the 4 of them at the back, the 4 women at the back today, Femi, they shielded the goalkeeper brilliantly. So if I'm going to pick players, I know we are going to get to that. If I'm going to pick players, I'm going to have to pick someone within that range. Although the man of the match, let me quickly say this for me.
Right?
You could understand that the goalkeeper saved the penalty, and I loved her anticipation, Femi. She was always quick over line, making all those punches.
And to also punch to
area ball, she was totally in control. But Femi, if I was going to pick an outfield player, I'll pick number 10 man, Christy Ucheibe. That girl was phenomenal. I thought
I saw your post on Facebook.
Yeah, Femi, I was so carried away with the performance. I thought I was the only one who saw it until the commentator said something, Femi, which is very, very instructive. He said, Chikwebe has covered every blade of grass on the pitch tonight. That is something. I want people to go back and watch that game with a relaxed mind, see what our number 10 did in this game. So for me, I think, and the good thing is, all of these players I've mentioned, they are younger players. Uchebe is just 22. The main is, I think, 21 now. She just closed the 20. So there's the 19-year-old Imran who didn't play today. There are a lot of players. I see the man in there, Uchebe. There's Abiodun who got the red card. She was also very, very outstanding. If I was going to, after Uchebe, I would pick her. I'm not going to talk about Tony Payne because Tony Payne is Tony Payne. She's always solid every day. Every day of the week, you got Tony Payne. She's always solid. I love the fact that she has all these dead ball duties. She's the one playing our corner kicks, our free kicks. It shows the kind of confidence the team has in Tony Payne. She wore the number 7 for us, and she was also outstanding in the middle of the park. But all in all, if I'm going to pick, I'll be hard to find a better player on the day apart from what's her name now? Uchebe, the number 10 player for Nigeria. That was my woman of the match today.
Okay. James, let's talk about Francesca Odega. She's received a couple of knocks on social media after that game because some are even saying that that slot should have been given to Ngozi Okobi. James, what is your impression about a performance of Francesca Odega?
For me, I don't think Odega covered herself in glory in this game. Being one of the experienced players, I don't think she did much, and she was so lucky that Nadoze made that penalty save because I mean we also saw a reaction when the referee eventually pointed to the penalty spot. Luckily for her, our teammate bailed her out. But all in all, I don't think she really did much in the game. And it was right for the coach to remove her. Being one of the experienced players, expected much from her, but I think it's that time we start looking at our contribution to the team, not just even some other players too, because I think the Odega I saw is someone that still plays the same way she used to play. Always want to get the ball and take on the defender when the simple passes would have done it for her. You just want to. I know as with her age now, I mean you are up against very young athletic players. They will match you for peace. So aside that, she doesn't really bring anything into the team again. Not taking anything away from her. She have done well for the Super Falcons, but I think my thought about her is it still stands. I think it's that time she starts, winding down time with the Super Falcons. But can't continue carrying. The good thing is,
making
when you look.
I am totally okay. I want you to finish what you said.
When you look at this, when you look at this Super Falcons, just like what I already said, I'm very excited. This team might not go as far as we want, but this team is a team for the future. It's a very young team. We also Deborah, someone that played at the under-20s. Look at the way she marshaled that midfield alongside Chris Hughton. Then we had those in the main. Someone alongside Deborah played at the under-20 world. This is what we've been saying. Bring in these girls, give them the opportunity. They have the talent. They are going to play. If you don't give them this chance, you keep using these experienced players who find they have the experience, but I mean they don't have the legs anymore. So when you have these young players, they are very athletic. They are still young. They are going to cover every blade on that pitch. And we also saw what Deborah did even to the 40-year-old Christine Sinclair. She brought him in the way she took the lady out. So for me, I'm so excited about this team. I just want the coach to tweak this team. Odega has done well, just like what I said, but I think the coach should try and give more opportunities to this younger player. Because if you don't give these players this opportunity, I mean, you never know what they can do. Deborah has shown what she can do. Fortunately, she's going to miss the next 2 games because she got a straight red card. Tosi Dimeni too was solid. You will never know that this is our first World Cup outing. You will never know that. So when you give these young players this opportunity, they are going to do wonders. So for me, Odega, I think the coach will say have a rethink when they take on Australia in the next game.
Excuse me.
Okay, of course.
I have a slightly different opinion, and this is this is not to shoot down what James has said. What he said is brilliant. I agree with everything he has said. But concerning Odega, what I think is Odega was a victim of the general lack of organization in the team's play. You ask yourself, Odega is supposed to be helping out in attack. What was she doing in the 18-yard box?
18-yard area.
Where you understand what I'm saying? It is a lack. I wrote something a few minutes before that happened that I see that this team should be much more organized than this. They just practically considered the middle to Canada. And if not for the industry of the three, of Uchebe in particular, who sometimes, that's why I advise everybody to go back and watch that game. Sometimes you see Uchebe doing clearance work at the left full back position. Sometimes you see her in the middle, right at the edge of the 18-yard box. So these are head-stopping moments I talked about earlier that we could have gone either way, would have resulted in either a clearance, a goal. So for me, I think the team was generally not organized as properly as we should be. Okay. A little much more push from Canada, we could have suffered. So I'm not saying Odega is the player she used to be. No, she is not. I agree with James that she should, decision making should be a little bit more simpler now than before. You don't need to dribble 10 people to show that you're good. 1-2 passes would have done better. But I think the team was generally organized. I do not want us to take that away just simply because we got a point. We were not organized. If we had played another team tonight, maybe we wouldn't have gotten away with it, even with the penalty save. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Femi. That team lacks organization. One, we lacked a leader on the pitch. We're going to get to that when we speak about Oshoala. We lacked a leader on the pitch too. So these are areas that people tend to forget simply because we did not concede a goal. If we had conceded a goal, if we had lost that game, I know that a lot of people praising the team now wouldn't have seen even the positives that we're talking about now. So for me, I don't want us to hang Odega out to dry. It was a general lack of organization that made her to be in that position in the first place. She was, okay, if the ball had been cleared from that point, there was nobody up front. So that means the team was just haphazard. I'm not saying this is the best we can have. I'm saying that we could do with a little bit more organization when we play Australia in the next game. That's going to be key.
Okay. James, very quickly, in 2 minutes. Do you think the tournament, the training tour, so to say, that the Falcons had against Canada last year, I think they played twice against Canada, helped build the mentality and the confidence going into this game?
Yeah, I think they took a lot away from that friendly games. Remember, it was a double-header friendly game. They lost one, and they almost won the second game. Very late goal at which they considered. So they have history with Canada. So and so I believe one thing about this game again, Femi, is this is the third time Nigeria will play Canada at the World Cup. And Nigeria have never lost to Canada. 1-1 and drew to 1995 for 3-3. 2011, Perpetual Kocha's lone strike gave us 1-0 and now 0-2. So Nigeria have history with Canada. So I think that friendly game, I mean, that's why we always talk about friendly games, top friendly games, because you give these players the opportunity to know this opponent, know how they play, how they set up. I mean, give you an idea, not just allow international break to just go like that. So kudos to the NFF with all the passion we've given them. But I think they did well because they gave the players this opportunity to mix with this. I mean, apart from in Canada, they played also against Japan, they played US, so they have an idea. So by the time luckily if they come out from this group, by the time they meet this team, they know that they've met them before and they know what to expect.
That's going to be some uphill task. Okay, Kyle, let's talk about Asisat Oshoala. We can't just take our eyes off Oshoala 5 times. I think 5 times African Women's Player of the Year now. But in a game like this, you expect Asisat Oshoala to stamp authority and show that she actually plays for FC Barcelona. But apart from even Oshoala, a lot of people have said that Plumter is best played as a centre back. But the question some people have been asking is that, are we actually deploying Oshoala in the best position in the national team? Kyle, very quickly.
Yeah, you just took that out of my mind. That was what I was going to say. That before you hang Oshoala out to dry, you ask yourself, where do we play her? I think while the game was going on, even before the penalty was conceded, I wrote something that I feel I should just read to you if I see it. I'm not sure if I see that again. I said this was after some 30-35 minutes. Most times I keep some of these thoughts to myself before somebody will say I am using Juju Femi. I said the Falcons must be a bit more organized and win more of the second balls. They weren't doing that in the early days. Acres of space in their midfield. Oshoala must come more to the center. Oshoala was isolated at left wing. Whatever Waldron planned wasn't working. At the point we saw her come to drift into the middle, and that was when we created some of the moments we created in the later part of the game. Because you cannot isolate, when you put her out on that wing, you ask yourself, who is the alternative? Who is playing in the middle of the park, in the center of the park? You're talking about Onumono. Yeah, that's the name. Onumono is a very hard worker. I like her physical size, but then she wasn't getting into the defenders. They had more times on the ball, and Oshoala would have created more panic in the defenders. So I would have played an Oshoala straight from the restart and as the top man. That's what I would have done. But then, like I always tell you, I'm not going
rather than playing behind Onumono.
Yes. I'm not going to do the work of the coach for him, but if you ask me, that's what I would have done. I would have played him. So when you play him out of position, you have taken away half of the blame from her. If you play her in a natural position, if you let her play from that position, then you could see Oshoala could create magic. She could do a lot of things, create havoc, fouls, penalties, free kicks, and everything. When you put her on the last man, but when you now decide to go farm her out to the left wing, and before she gets herself, before she is able to bring the ball from that point to the box and everything, there are 1, 2, 3 players on her. She is a marked player. Let's not forget this. Everybody wants to mark Oshoala out. The coach is inadvertently helping them to do that. Play her in her strongest possible position. If she doesn't measure up, then we cannot have this conversation all over again. But that's my thinking. I've seen a lot of things people say about that. The kind of energy she brings to Barcelona, she doesn't bring it to the national team. And I asked them, how many Barcelona players play with her in the national team of Nigeria? So let's not get some of these things mixed up. I'm not an advocate for Oshoala. I'm not soliciting for her or for even Odega. I'm just saying, before we criticize, let's all make sure that we have not put any impediment in the part of these players.
Very correct. Okay, James. Let's look at as we round up with the Super Falcons. Now let's look at Torres. They'll be playing Australia the host. With what we saw between Australia and the Republic of Ireland, do you think the Falcons, objectively, now do you think the Falcons stand a chance of getting anything out of that game?
Well, I think they should go into that game with confidence now. I mean, the first game is out of the way now. Luckily for them, they were able to get a draw against the Olympic champions. You know, I know they are going to face the home crowd. I think the game against between Australia and Republic of Ireland was a record crowd for a woman.
Yeah, attendance.
Attendance. You know, so they should expect a tough one. I mean, it's going to be very difficult, but I expect Waldron to tweak his lineup. The good thing is we'll see Rashida Ajibade back into the team. Limot Ainetu should be back. Should be a good replacement for Deborah. You know, so so I expect them to be more adventurous. I mean, I don't expect them to sit back, just like what they did against Canada and continue to soak pressure. Because if you do that against the Australians, you might not be lucky. You know, my fear for the Falcons is if they concede first, do they have that strength to come back? You know, because the game against Canada, we were just soaking the pressure. If we are trying to soak up pressure, they consider a penalty. Luckily for them, Odega was there. So I don't expect them to sit back like what they did against Canada. You try and be a little bit adventurous. And the forward line too, I expect them to be more, at least be a bit clinical, you know. So I just pray that the setup this time will be a bit more adventurous. You can't continue soaking the pressure. At a point, you're going to crack.
Okay.
You know? So I expect a good outing. And I pray they don't lose that game. I pray they don't lose that game. Even though you're not going to win it, don't lose the game.
Okay. Kayode, now let's talk about Rita Nwadike. Of course, she's a legend when it comes to women's game in Africa, and of course, as well as Nigerian football. Yesterday, she came out to say that she doesn't see the current crop of the players in the Super Falcons surpassing what they did in 1999 when the Falcons got to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. And a lot of people have said it is bad belly, in which we all call it, they say ill will right here. But Kyle, the objectivity now, do you think she's right? Because what she said was that she said, based on what they had then, there was determination, there was resilience, that if they lose a game, they quickly correct their mistakes as soon as in the second game. And she said she hasn't seen all those things in the current team. Do you agree with her?
To be honest, Femi, she has a right to her opinion, and I think nothing has happened in this game to change what she has said. And also, why I would not also stick my neck out and say this team will fall down at this stage or whatever stage, because like I said, I don't like setting targets for teams. I can only hope that they are able to surpass. It is not in Rita's interest if we do not surpass the record set in 1999. Records are set to be broken. So if this team are able to do it, we've seen teams that we consider not good enough going ahead to do what the teams we think are good, are better, are not able to do. Like exactly. I told you, one of the weakest teams that Nigeria ever took to an AFCON, with all due respect,
in 2013.
Was in 2013. But we won the AFCON. Femi, we've seen better teams. The 1992 team, the team in 2010 was even better. Let's be honest with ourselves. The 2004 team was better. They didn't win. So we won in 2013. So that's why I said these teams, that they don't have a particular set of rules that guide them. For all we care, this team can go all the way. Not because they are better than every other team we have seen, but there's something they call the tournament bans, Femi. Just like Burkina Faso in 2013 went all the way to play us in the final. Nobody gave them a chance from the first game. So when you have the tournament bans, will you expect us to lose? We didn't lose the first game. The second game against Australia, if we get just like I'm even talking about 2013. Look at Morocco at the last World Cup. Nobody gave them the chance. So that's what tournament bans is all about. Once you are able to get a win, it gives you confidence that, I can go into the next game and also win. All we need from this group, Femi, if you're able to get 5 points, if you're able to get a draw against, the question you should ask yourself, let me start by saying, the question you should ask yourself is, which are the 2 teams that at first glance you think will qualify from this group? I'm sure that you're going to, without being overly patriotic, you look at Australia, you look at Canada. Now we're done with Canada. That does not mean Canada are out of the competition or that they cannot qualify ahead of us. But now we have gotten a point from them. We did not lose. That's important in your first game. If you're able to get a point against Australia, that would be massive. And then we are condemned to beat Ireland. Without any respect. They are also a very good team. They are in the competition. They have actually played a fellow African team. So they have an idea of how to play, although Nigeria will be a different ball game. But then we should look at it from that point of view. So I will not agree with Rita that this team cannot, until they get out of this competition. Nobody should be able to say this is how far they are going to go.
Okay. Of course, South Africa, of course, another African representative, they will be playing, I think, Sweden on Sunday. So we wish the Bayana all the best. Guys, let's go to Ghana now. Yeah, let's go to Ghana now, because a lot has been happening regarding football over there. And it is very, very unpalatable, because members of excos, executive members of the Ghana Football Association, are now coming out to say that they do not hold any confidence in Chris Hughton, because they've not been impressed by what he's done. And the latest person to do that is George Amoako, a member of the ESCO. He was saying that, have you seen Chris Hughton's performance? He was saying that in an interview. He said, have you seen Chris Hughton's performance? In an interview with Angel FM, he said he has played 3 matches. He hasn't been impressive. He added, if you look at the teams, Madagascar, I went to see the games against Angola, and all the games I have seen, we played under him. I am not impressed. Let's pray at least that we will qualify for the 2023 AFCON. James, should we be talking about this at this time? This guy is just months into a 1.5-year contract, and the very people who gave him the job are already saying, they're already passing like a vote of no confidence on him already. James?
I think if the Black Stars fail to qualify for the AFCON and even the World Cup, I think they should hold the GF, some of the members responsible. I mean, even though you have such thought, you don't come out in public and start saying such. I mean, I know that it's not everybody that will like the coach, but I mean, he's on the verge of qualifying the team for the AFCON. You know, I mean, they have a final home game against the Central African Republic. Why not allow this team to focus and do get the ticket. It win on the draw, it will be enough for them. But when one of the members of the FA is out in public saying this, I mean, what kind of message are you passing to the public, to the team and everybody? I mean, if anything should go wrong, I think the GFA, some of the members should be held responsible. This man, I told you that among the three candidates when they came out, I told you that he is the one that they should go for, based on the fact that he has been with the team. At least they have an idea. I mean, this is a marathon, the qualifiers, and he's almost done the qualifiers. Why not allow him to finish up the qualifier? Then, if you want to sack him, you can go ahead and sack him. But not so. You still have a very crucial game. I mean, you're already out. Bashing the coach. I mean, if you have such a negative thought about him, keep it to yourself. So for me, I don't know. For me, he has not really done that bad. He has not lost a game. The games that he needed at least a point, he was able to get the point. And the one that you're supposed to win, he was able to score the 3 points. So for me, they should still allow him to tinker with the team. If one of the qualifiers are done and he was able to nick the ticket, if you want to kick him out, I mean, you can go ahead and do that, but at least allow the team to focus.
Okay. Kayode, we have just a few minutes now to go. A former member of the Ghana Football Association is now the one encouraging GFA officials to try and stick with Chris Hughton, give him all the support. I'm talking about Isaac Upele Button. Kayode, should he get to this point? We have very few minutes to go, but we just have to talk about it.
Hughton has a job to do. Let him do this job. Stop distracting him. And the unfortunate part is, it is those who claim to have confidence in him that are now trying to sabotage his effort. This should not be acceptable. I mean, we shouldn't accept all of this. If this guy is not doing things the way you want because he's not used to your way of life, you should allow him, sit back, let him either swim or sink with his team. You can't be doing this to somebody. It's not allowed.
Okay. It's really a bad situation because, like I said, another former member of the Black Stars Management Committee, Moses Amapaka, is not saying that the Black Stars should forget about 2026 World Cup, but the country should stick with Chris Hughton in order to help the team. So it's just that bad. Unfortunately, we don't have time. We have a lot to talk about, like of course, Ashanti Kotoko, they are looking at appointing a brother of Chris Hughton as their new technical advisor. Remember, they had a very terrible season last season in the Betpower Premier League. And of course, the Black Queens, they're doing well in their quest to reach the Olympics next year. Of course, they swept aside, gaining 7-0 aggregate in the qualifier. So much to talk about, but unfortunately, we'll be leaving all those until when next we come around. Kayode Ogundare, thank you so much for your time for coming on the show today. And James, thank you also for making it on the show today. And to our fans around the world, we appreciate you so much. Our fans around the world, we appreciate you so much for keeping faith with Naija Super Fans Forum. So keep it locked there on Naija Super Fans Forum. Of course, the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup is still ongoing, and we wish all the African representatives all the best. Of course, remember that Zambia and South Africa, of course, they will be getting the bid, as well as Morocco. Of course, they have games coming up. We'll be keeping tabs on all of those until we come your way again. I remain Oshoala. Thank you so much. Bye for now.